By 1995, 39-year-old Bill Gates had settled into a new life as a married man. With his wife, Melinda, he took time off to explore the world from Africa to China. It seemed that Bill Gates now truly had it all.
This is a man so successful, his chauffeur is Ross Perot, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Dancers.
1995 was also a banner year for Microsoft. Windows 95 was introduced to great fanfare. Tonight Show host Jay Leno kicked off the ballyhoo for the new software.
Windows 95 is so easy, even a talk show host can figure it out.
Clearly, Gates was still Microsoft's best salesman. But from now on, it wouldn't be all business for the boss. On April 26, 1996, Bill and Melinda welcomed their first child, a daughter, Jennifer.
He just loves that little girl. It's just so marvelous to see. It's very gratifying to a father to see his own son have the same feeling about children that I did about him and his sisters. So it's really gratifying.
A year after his daughter's birth, Bill moved his family into a $54 million dream house. Along with family and guest quarters, there is a library housing the Leonardo da Vinci notebook, for which Gates paid more than $30 million. Even though the house serves many business functions, for the Gates family, it's just home.
It's a remarkably family-friendly home, given what it is. I remember the first time going there after it was fully finished, walking through it and seeing, you know, little Tykes cars in various places and things like that. I mean, this is not an antiseptic home that you feel afraid to touch anything or sit anywhere.
As Bill Gates' personal life grew more fulfilling, his professional life grew more frustrating. By 1997, he found he was way behind in the exploding internet market. A company called Netscape was dominating sales of internet browsers, the software needed to access websites. Gates set out to close the gap by including Explorer, his browser, with every copy of Microsoft Windows. Many saw it as dirty pool, a move to eliminate his chief rival.
If Microsoft chooses to disadvantage Netscape or any other competitor, then the consumer doesn't get a fair choice. When the consumer doesn't get a fair choice, the market can't work effectively.
In 1998, Gates was called to the Senate, where he was once a page, and charged with running an illegal monopoly.
I hope that my testimony helps the court to resolve the issues in this case. That would be best for consumers and the industry, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
President Bill Clinton's Justice Department, along with 19 states, filed an antitrust suit against Microsoft. It was the largest suit of its kind in the history of the computer industry.
Microsoft has the power today to exercise predatory and exclusionary control over the very means by which we access this internet. It's a lot like General Motors having the ability to dictate what type of gasoline you put in your car, or what interstate you can drive on, or even how you get on the interstate.
In 2000, a federal judge ruled that the company would have to be split in two. After more than 2 decades of unstoppable success, this was a huge blow to Bill Gates.
The antitrust trial affected Bill Gates very deeply. He was very sensitive to the accusations that he was petulant, that he was arrogant, that he didn't answer all the questions fairly, that he was trying to be obstructive with prosecutors.
The antitrust suit lasted 4 years and cost Microsoft millions of dollars in legal fees. Ultimately, in 2002, the Justice Department, under President George Bush, offered Microsoft a favorable settlement. It would be an infuriating moment for Microsoft's detractors and a triumphant moment for Bill Gates and company. In the midst of the antitrust suit, Bill Gates surprised many when he stepped down as Microsoft's CEO, dubbing himself chairman and chief software architect. The CEO job went to his old Harvard pal, Steve Ballmer.
They're old friends, and Gates really wanted to just be the ideas man. He really just wanted to take a step back, and that's what he did, and it's working very well now. So it was difficult for him to let go of his baby, but he got used to it.
For the last decade, Bill Gates has been on a mission to share his wealth. In 2000, he formed the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year on computers, vaccines, and medicines for those who need them most.
The rich world and the poor world are so separated. The awareness of the crisis in AIDS and the very effective interventions that can take place is very, very low. The time is really now to change these things.
He has publicly stated that he will not be leaving his vast fortune to his children.
Well, what Bill Gates has said is that he's going to give away, before the end of his life, 90% of his fortune.
Bill Gates has become a global icon. His second book, Business at the Speed of Thought, was published in 25 languages and is available in more than 60 countries. In 2004, Forbes magazine rated him as the richest person in the world for the 11th consecutive year. His net worth, estimated at about $50 billion, leaves him some time to play, but not too much.
The industry keeps changing. I mean, it's the perfect game because it never ends. You can't sit down and relax.
Through it all, William Henry Gates III has remained the competitor he always was. Looking to the future, this visionary is investing much of his energy on expanding the Microsoft market into global territories like the Middle East and China. Meanwhile, Gates and Microsoft have set their sights to improve their software to battle against computer viruses and spam. Gates himself is said to receive 4 million spam emails per day. Whether he'll be remembered as a robber baron, a philanthropist, or the guy who simply built a better mousetrap, no one can deny he changed the way the world works and plays.
When the biographers and historians write the history of the 20th century, Bill Gates is going to go down as the best businessman of our century, and Microsoft is one of the greatest companies of the 20th century. It's remarkable what this company has managed to do in so short a time. This is one of the great success stories of the 20th century.